We are back with Holly Ladd as she's taking your calls and talking with me about holistic living, diets, taking care of yourself. She's a holistic coach, a health coach. You have clients that come to you that want to make changes or want to maintain, usually. When they first talk to you are these folks that are really in a pickle and thinking, gosh, I've tried other things and they're not working.
Yeah, it's people that want to make a change.
Okay.
And they don't know how. They've tried stuff in the past. It hasn't stuck. You know, it's sort of like, I've done this, I've done that, I've done South Beach, I've done Atkins, I've done, Weight Watchers, I've done.
It's usually almost always about weight loss. Is that the main issue? I mean, as opposed to...
Most of the time, but sometimes it's about just I don't feel well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The other side of you can even be thinner and not have a weight issue, but if you're eating something that just doesn't mesh with your body, like gluten or what, you may not feel well, but you're going to have swelling, right?
Yeah, and low energy, just kind of brain fog. Your mind isn't working the way it used to. And most of my clients are probably 40 and older because that's when our bodies kind of radically shift.
Is that because, what do you mean? When that age threshold hits, it's like there is a time where all of a sudden your body's less tolerant of some of the things that it would take younger where you can just handle it?
I don't know what the answer to that question is, but, it seems to me that in our 20s and 30s, we just can bounce back from things better.
I had a lot of stuff in my 20s and 30s that I don't touch now.
Absolutely. Or what you did in your 20s and 30s, you're now paying for in your 40s. Like it's a cumulative effect that has had a health effect on your body. So there's something about in the 40s where people just start to have lower energy, not think as clearly, and realize that, wow, if I want to live well, I need to make some changes because I could,
I just see so few people doing it. And that's where, it's interesting. My wife and I, especially my wife, she loves like Sonic Ice and ice. And so we go through a lot of McDonald's or fast food drive-thrus. And when we do that, it's to get a cup of ice and she may get some soda, diet soda or something like that, or tea in it. But that's why we're not buying fast food a lot. Now my son will eat a quarter pounder, but it's interesting. We're always in line there, and like a lot of times we'll be going home and we stop and get just a soda. That's all we got to get through. Can we have a large Diet Dr. Pepper with extra ice? But what I'm bringing this up is to say that the lines, I am amazed. I'm seeing firsthand, as someone who doesn't eat a lot of fast food anymore, even though I'll like it, but I just don't. Most Americans do. Goodness gracious. The lines in the fast food restaurants going around are unbelievable. And I see these people pulling up and they're ordering and they're getting these big bags. I don't know what they have in it. But it's a ton of that. And it's constant over and over and over again. And I'm not knocking fast food because I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I eat it sometimes as well. But there are people that it just seems to me fast food's not hurting at all. And I thought at some point that would have been tailing down. And it's not. And I don't see them ordering their healthier alternatives either.
Right. Well, yeah, it actually is I mean, if you look at McDonald's statistics, they've had to shut down quite a few stores. So there is a little bit nationwide, maybe not here in Tennessee, but nationwide there's been a reduction in fast food consumption. But we've got to flip the switch somewhere. We've got to make it so that bad food is expensive and good food is cheap. And there's a way to do that. We just have to have the mentality and the mindset and the political will to make it happen.
Yeah, but I see these commercials where these beautiful, thin models eating these giant bacon cheeseburgers. Now, can you eat that and look like that? I mean, they must be. It's in the commercial.
Well, if it's in the commercial, it's true, right? We know that.
I'm just rolling my eyes when I see this stuff. Sex to sell burgers. I guess that's what it is on some of that. I don't want to get too far astray, but I'm just talking about American dietary habits. All right, so just in terms of getting toward the holidays, you were talking about we're out of harmony in some way?
Yeah.
How so?
And this all relates to sort of diet and lifestyle in the States.
Okay.
Well, what I mean is there are 4 distinct seasons of the year: spring, summer, fall, winter, and every season sort of has a mentality, so to speak. And the food kind of goes along with the mentality. So, for example, spring. What do you think of when I say spring?
Well, the changing of the season, the temperatures. You're talking about food-wise in this spring?
No, so what does spring mean to you?
Oh, just spring. It's an excitement that it's a warming for me, and all of a sudden you see the buds on the trees and growth begin.
Right. That's so renewal, growth, refreshing.
Yeah, coming out of the dark, cold weather of February and March, and then spring. It's just like, here comes the summer.
You're getting ready for summer. You get your bike out, you get your rollerblades out, you start running. I mean, you start being outdoors again. Right. So spring is like this renewal, and then the food in the spring that's in season is like our greens that are very
mostly
detoxifying.
Greens, onions. You're right. That's when you plant your peas.
Yes, and it's all foods that detoxify our system because we've gone through a winter where traditionally there's not a lot of food that grows in the winter.
Right.
So traditional ancestral folks, and I'm only talking maybe 200-300 years ago, just kind of ate meat and fat and the seeds and nuts in the winter to keep warm and sort of go into this hibernation mode. And then spring, they start eating all the greens, and they start feeling better and moving more. So to talk about winter, winter really is a time where we need to sort of slow down, take a break. The days are short. There's clues that nature gives us. It's cold and days are short. We're supposed to be sort of hibernating. We're supposed to be laying low.
I just tend to go sleep earlier when it's dark earlier.
Me
That's
too.
just the way it
I
is.
sleep a lot in the winter.
Yeah.
And the holidays are sort of pushing us towards not doing that.
Right.
You know, parties and go and eat all this inappropriate food, and it's gotten us out of harmony with winter, and that leads to cold and flu seasons, because by January your immune systems are shot because you're not living in harmony with nature, and you're eating sugar, which depletes your immune system. And by January, February, that's when it's cold and flu season. And if we would just take the time to slow down, appreciate winter for what it is, reconnect with your friends and family, but in a very calm way, and eat foods that are seasonally appropriate.
Yeah.
First, they're healthier for you because there's more nutrition in them. They don't come from Peru or Africa and haven't been on a boat for 3,000 miles. And the foods that are available in season are actually biologically appropriate for what our body needs at any given moment in the year.
Okay, so in this day and age, the good news is that because we have transportation and refrigeration, you can still get greens. It's going to cost you more in the wintertime. And I try to do that because you just hit it on the head. I know I used to constantly get sick at least 2 or 3 times every winter, all right? And part of the reason is we're indoors more, you're exposed to more, you're not out, and things get stuffy and there's more germs. I think that's part of it. It's natural. But the last couple of years, as I've made some subtle modifications, I'm not quite like you. I haven't had that, knock on wood, really bad cold that just knocks my butt out for like a week or something. I'm not talking about the flu, just the sniffles and all that. And I'm wondering if that has something to do with it. And I try to maintain still eating, kale?
Yes.
Or other green vegetables that I can find at the grocery store. And like I said, they cost a bit more, but you can still buy them. And what about frozen ones?
And frozen is awesome, because if you're eating a frozen food, that frozen vegetable has been picked at the peak of its freshness, and then flash frozen right away.
So it's not losing nutrition, really?
It's actually more nutritious to get a frozen bag of peas in the winter than to buy fresh peas that came from Argentina.
Oh.
Because they have to be picked immature. They have to be transported, and every day that they're on that boat, they're losing nutrients.
Whereas these local ones that were grown in the summer but frozen domestically
have all the nutrients.
Were picked at the. That's a great point. Didn't think about that. Just freezing. Wow.
And they're cheaper.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the frozen, and you know what? They're fine. And I'm going to talk about some frozen fruits. I freeze tons of blueberries.
Yes.
I go pick them all summer, and I've got 4 or 5 bags in my deep freeze that are going to be there for smoothies all winter. Are blueberries good for you? Oh yeah.
Come on. Are you asking me?
If you could, you would be one big blueberry. You love blueberries.
What's
kind of like
the
Veruca
character?
Salt.
Veruca Salt. Thank you.
She turned into a blueberry.
She did.
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Let's take a call from Greg. Greg, good morning. Hello, Greg.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Greg. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, not too much. I always like topics like this about, eating more nutritional and being healthy and stuff. And, people don't realize that when you do stop eating the junk foods and McDonald's and stuff, you're not going to notice a result within a day.
You're right.
So this is something that takes time for your system to adjust and get balanced and stuff. And I think that there's another thing, too, as far as what we drink. My wife and I, we've got reverse osmosis water filters in our system, in our house, and that cleanses the water. It takes there's a 3-filter system, an ultraviolet light, and the ultraviolet light actually takes the fluoride out of your drinking water.
Wow.
There's been studies to show that a lot of people, when they get old, with a small dose of fluoride within your drinking system and your drinking water actually builds up in your system, and it causes cirrhosis in your bones. That's why when you get old, your bones get real brittle. It's from the fluoride. But people don't realize that what you're eating now, like she was saying earlier, is what you're eating now years from now, you're going to have an effect from it.
Yeah.
Your body's going to react. And I was just going to use fluoride as an example of the difference. Once you drink water that does not have fluoride, you will never drink anything else again. You will not want to drink water, or if you go to the store like your wife goes, when you guys go into a fast food place and get ice, you'll taste that ice, the fluoride and just the stuff in the ice that'll just, you won't believe that you actually used to not notice it. You know what I'm saying? And when you stop eating these things, or while you're eating these things, you don't notice anything because it's natural, it's normal, it's a regular taste to you. But once you stop eating this stuff, you'll find out that, like, you guys don't go to McDonald's, you don't eat at McDonald's, but all these people that eat at McDonald's, they don't even realize that. I think they're kind of addicted to it. I think it's more of an addiction and a laziness because they don't feel like cooking, but they're also becoming addicted to the food. That's why they just, I just look at them like, gosh dang, those people, like you said, those people, there's lines and lines and lines of people at McDonald's and everywhere, and I thought, if they just knew what they were really eating, they wouldn't be there.
I agree. By the way, with your water filter, I'm imagining, does your water just taste great? You can tell the difference, obviously, not just knowing that it's healthier, but it tastes better to you?
It has no taste at all.
Okay. Oh, okay, which is what you want. You don't want something that has some kind of minerally taste or bitter or something. Yours has just no taste. It's just pure water.
Right, it's just pure water. It's a reverse osmosis water filter, and that's in it. It does the ultraviolet light actually takes the fluoride and it gives. It's like an extra cleansing of the water with the ultraviolet light added to the 3-filter charcoal filter system.
Wow!
Like I said, you'll be amazed, Nick, if you guys get. They're like about $300 or so, but it's worth every penny of it. We have glass jars with water in our refrigerator, and we were drinking that. We used to just use the regular tap water for ice cubes, and then we put the ice cubes in with the mixed water, and it's like, wait a minute, now the water tastes yucky, so now we just do the ice cubes, and the tap water is all just filtered water through the reverse osmosis filter system we got.
Wow, Greg, thanks for that. Yeah, I've heard, and we've actually looked into that. I don't know, how do you feel about that? I know it can be health reasons. I know some people try to filter that out because they have such hard water anyway. You can't get suds when you take a shampoo or something like that, and it's hard on your clothing and stuff, but I've heard of filters, Oh,
filtered water is essential, and I would add, in addition to fluoride, is chlorine. There is so much chlorine in our water, and at times in Nashville, I turn on the tap, and it almost smells like a swimming pool. I don't know whether they
I've noticed that.
Go through cycles where they dose it, and then it kind of, I'm not sure what happens, but chlorine is actually horrible for our systems too. It wipes out our gut microbiomes, the good bugs, good bacteria in our gut, which keeps us healthy. I highly recommend, obviously, filtering your tap water to drink. For ice cubes is a great idea. Whether it's reverse osmosis or any other filters that are out there, that's fine. And then also getting a filter for your shower head. Because when you're showering, you're absorbing that water into your skin, and it's loaded with chlorine. And chlorine is not a good thing.
About the fast food, I think about different foods that can seem addicting to you. It's like, for me, it's Oreos. I don't know what they put in an Oreo, because I know I don't want to eat many of them, but I'll have one of those, and I just want to eat more. I don't know if fast food's what it is that grabs people. But I was going to say, I read somewhere where I thought, if you're just hooked on fast food and you still like going to some of these places, instead of when you order the Happy Meal or whatever it is you order, if nothing else, you just stop ordering that sugar soda, supersized soda. So go ahead. If you got to have it, have your fries and burger with it or whatever, but just cut out the soda and get a water instead. That alone has helped people lose a ton of weight. Just by not drinking, because really when you think about it, I know there's fat in the burger and the fries, but that sugar soda that's this big, and you drink that whole thing, that's got more that's going to get you than the burger and the fries combined, it seems like. Just cut out the soda alone, or cut out one element of the three.
Cut out the soda.
I was going to ask you, of the three, which would you
start with the soda. For me, it's all about sugar.
Okay.
For me, cut out your sugar. Cut out your sugar. Look, we're supposed to have 9 teaspoons of sugar a day, which is...
oh, boy. How much is in one of those supersized sodas? It's got to be like
25. 30. One of those super big gulps. It's crazy. And kids are supposed to have 6 teaspoons of sugar a day. according to the American Heart Association. I mean, this is like doctors recommending it. And, you know, by the time a kid has had breakfast, they've already had 3 or 4 times their amount of sugar in a day. And sugar is doing so much. It's fueling the diabetic crises in our country. It's fueling heart disease. You know, we cut out fat, we added sugar, and it just increased cancer, heart disease, diabetes, all these chronic illnesses. Sugar, to me, and from what I've read, is the biggest culprit to our health crisis right now. So if anything, reduce your sugar consumption.
Reduce the sugar, and when you do want sweets, do it with natural sweets, be it like you were saying, maple syrup, or if you want to use honey, if you can get raw natural honey. But it's interesting. Okay, so we talk about it, and a lot of people are like, well, darn it, you guys are just hammering us. What's good to eat? Now, there were rules a while back where, you know, the issues about fat and saturated fat and cholesterol and butter or whole milk. Those things have kind of come and changed, where the substitutes that were there that were more made in a lab are considered not to be so good, things that are hydrogenated. But you're saying, okay, if you're going to put something on your toast, now I know you don't eat toast, gluten-free bread, but I mean, use real butter.
Yes.
Just in moderation, and I'm a total believer in that, real butter. How about saturated fats? And when I say saturated fats, we're talking about animal fats, okay? Not the fat you get in an avocado. It's different. But what about animal fat?
You know, again, if it's a quality animal, I wouldn't eat burgers every day. Yeah. But I think in moderation, saturated fat was demonized. And in fact, Dr. Mark Hyman, who's a big functional medicine guy, whose clinic I went to, is coming out with a book next spring called Eat Fat, Get Skinny. So, or Eat Fat, Get Thin. So fat has just been demonized, all sorts of fat, saturated. The only fat that is bad and still continues to be bad are the trans fats. So you absolutely don't want to eat any trans fats. So that's hydrogenated oils.
Again, it took me a long time to figure out what hydrogenated means, but I think, and check me if I'm wrong, it's where you have some type of oil that naturally occurring that's runny, like, you know, an olive oil or something that comes out, and then they do something chemically in the lab to thicken it, to make it like butter. So it's been hydrogenated to thicken it for some purpose, to make it spreadable, or maybe it works better in some baking things, and that is not supposed to be good for you at all.
Horrible. Yeah. In fact, you should have 0 trans fats.
No trans fats. Stay away from hydrogenated stuff. Your body doesn't know what to do with it, right?
No. Crisco, get rid of it. It's done.
That's right. Crisco, the white Crisco, right?
Yeah, the white stuff.
So you would actually say, if you had Crisco here and lard here, go with the lard in moderation. Lard is pure, I guess, pork fat mostly. I don't know what it comes from. But it looks the same, but one is hydrogenated vegetable oil that's turned white, and the other is pure white animal fat, but it's in its natural state.
Right. So a good rule is, if it's produced in a lab, avoid it. If it's produced in nature, eat it. Now, not that you should, like you said, eat spoonfuls of lard, but if you're going to make a pie and you want to have a flaky crust or biscuits, every once in a while, use lard. Yeah, and it'll taste better anyway.
You're right. I was about to say, it's going to be the best. All right, we'll take, biscuits made that way? Wow, rocking. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, if you're on hold, we'll get to your phone calls. More of our conversation right after this.